Still missing. I've got Patti Wood with me, body language expert, as we analyze the words of baby Lisa's mom and dad. Also, Jim Spellman will join us momentarily from Missouri with the latest of what's happening there. Patti, first I want to get to the dad, and he has given a couple of slightly different versions of what happened when he got home in the early morning hours. Let's take a look at his first TV interview from October 6th, and then follow that up with his Good Morning America appearance on October 17th, and we'll see the change, and then I want you to tell us what you noticed, what you heard, what you saw. Take a look.
When I came home from work, the front door was unlocked. Most of the lights were on in the house, and the window was in the front was open. Obviously, all very unusual. And then I started checking on the kids, checked on the boys first, and then we checked on her, and that's when we realized she was gone.
All right, now we want to take a look at October 17th also. So let's take a look at that next one because there's two different stories, and we want to compare the 6th to the 17th. So let's take a look at that.
I had come home, and Deborah had woken up when I got there, and we talked for a couple minutes, and then I asked her, what's going on? And she said, what do you mean? And that's when I told her, lights, the door, the window, and she kind of jumped up out of bed like something was wrong, and that was when I kind of realized that something might be wrong.
So when you first came home, you didn't immediately realize that Lisa was gone?
No.
It's interesting, Patti. These two stories are a little bit different, and we'll take a look at that October 6th interview for any body language things that you see. But how about the words that you think?
It's interesting. His point of view is actually, in some respects, the same. He sees the door unlocked. He sees the window open. But it's I talked to her, Deborah, his wife, for a few minutes, and then I said, what's going on? That's not normal. You come in your house, the door's open, the windows, the lights are all on.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Talk to your way for a few minutes. So that perspective is very odd. And again, what continually bothers us is the monotone voice, which is his baseline. That is his normal. But it feels to us that it has such a lack of emotion in it. That makes us feel uncomfortable. Whether it actually indicates guilt or not is a whole other story.
All right, I want to jump out to Jim Spellman, our correspondent, CNN correspondent out in Kansas City, Missouri. Jim, we heard some reports about X-rays being done, and I was a little confused about what exactly they're X-raying out there. What have you heard?
Right, Vinnie, yesterday for hours we saw investigators go in and out of the house with these large black panels about 3 feet by 2 feet. It turns out that that's part of X-ray equipment. Now, we don't know, the police won't tell us exactly what they were doing with them in this house. We know in general they use them to look inside of walls, inside of pipes, that sort of thing when they're doing an investigation. They brought in the bomb squad. That is what has that technology, this X-ray technology in it, is the bomb squad unit. And literally we saw them going in all day, and they were here until 1 a.m. last night doing that investigation here at Baby Lisa's house, Vinnie.
And how about today, Jim? Any action over there today?
No, it's really quiet here today. This was a hub of activity yesterday, all day. Today, it couldn't be more quiet. The police tape is gone. Police tell us the house is open again to the Irwins, and they got everything they're probably going to ever need to get out of the house. A completely different scene today, and the family staying, keeping a low profile today here in Kansas City as well.
Yeah, family keeping that low profile. A lot of people wondering about that. Patti, let's take a look at some more of the mom's words, baby Lisa's mom, because apparently she's the one, according to their story, that is the last one, adult with the child. Here she is describing her last moments with Lisa. Let's take a look.
Talk to us about your last moments with Lisa. I mean, what were you
just change her, put fresh clothes on her and get her ready for bed and give her a bottle, and I made sure her binky was in her crib in case she needed it. And she sleeps with her Barney, and she sleeps with her glowworm and her blanket, and that was it.
What's odd is she was asked about that specific last night, and all of her answers were about her going to bed every night. If you listen to it,
That's interesting.
it's very, very different. She's not recalling that specific night. She's recalling she sleeps with her glowworm, which your heart just wrenches as she says that, but I put her to bed with her glowworm. She doesn't say that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
It's odd.
I don't know if it's because she's drinking and she blacked out and she doesn't remember, or she
Yeah.
doesn't want to remember. It's hard to distinguish sometimes, right?
I just don't like it that she didn't answer the question directly.
Let's take a look at more of Mom, and here she is. Asked about, did it look like anything was disturbed in the house? And this is another, you're doing an investigation trying to find out the facts, what happened. Here's what she says about that.
Did it look like anything was disturbed in her room? I mean, did anything look out of place other than her not being there?
No. It's like they just walked in and just disappeared.
Shook her and took all of our phones, so we couldn't call anybody.
How about that? Do you see
Yeah.
anything in the faces? Really had a tight shot of their faces there.
First of all, that no, she didn't see anything. That was absolutely sincere and real. That was a very fresh question, by the way. She hadn't been asked before, so I got a great read on that. But also, again, she sort of changes tenses. She changes point of view several times in that statement as she goes back. No, she doesn't finish a sentence. She doesn't go all the way through the story. Again, that doesn't sound right. And then you have his deadpan lack of vocal variation, as he said, they took our phones. Where you would say, they took
How
our
about saying
phones, so we
they?
couldn't...
Is that a normal thing to say they?
That's just not something normal, no, not necessarily, but the lack of emotion is what makes us feel uncomfortable. They took our phones, so we couldn't call. That would have been normal for that situation for parents with a child
Absolutely.
missing.
Jim Spellman's in Kansas City tonight. Jim, the more that we take a look back at this story and we try to piece it together from the interviews that she's given, finding some inconsistency with the dad. Did he come home and check on the boys first, or did he come home and speak to his wife first? The lights on. The lights on is the one thing that really doesn't sound right to me. I've never broken into a house, okay? I've seen it done in the movies, but I've never thought that a burglar in the middle of the night would break into a house and then turn on all the lights. Usually they want to stay under the cover of darkness. Is there a lot of talk about that the lights are somehow on? Why would someone breaking into a house turn the lights on?
Yeah, that's definitely unusual. Turn them on and leave them on in the middle of the night. But keep in mind that Deborah Bradley has said that she was drunk to the point where she might have been blacking out. So is it possible that she turned them back on at some point without remembering? Even if everything else is consistent in her interview, that's entirely possible. It's definitely one of those 3 or 4 top questions investigators would love to be able to come back and speak with her about directly. But today is the 12th day that she's refused to submit to a direct interview with police. That's becoming this ever wider divide between police that are searching for baby Lisa and the parents who, say they want the exact same thing, but the police need their help. So that's one of those things that they really need that direct communication with to try to figure out.
Yeah, and Patty, here's another thing that bothers me. It has nothing to do with body language or anything else. And I know they've got counsel, and he's a very good attorney. I know all of that. But the people who are going to find your child is law enforcement. That's your best bet, is the FBI, authorities everywhere. That's your best bet in finding your child. They're not talking to them.
Right, and what would be normal is pestering them, not at their doorstep, on the police steps, calling them constantly, getting in front of the media and pleading on screen, on camera as much as you possibly can be, making all efforts, and being out in front of your house.
And how about you physically searching? I mean, I spoke with little Brianne Rodriguez's father. She was missing. And her dad, when I did the interview, he's on an ATV talking to me on the cell phone. He's searching. He's talking to me because he wants the story out there. And and to me, that was a father who was scrambling at that moment. Patty, thank you so much. We're going to have you back again because I have even more stuff to show you. Jim Spellman, great job. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. If you want to stay on top of this story, plus everything else we follow in Prime News, make sure you follow me on Twitter. The address, @Vinnie Politan.